If we're thinking about the national security apparatus, they have surveillance technology. They have ways to, under the banner of national security, bypass privacy laws. We anticipate that these same technologies and these same tactics are going to be used to now criminalize folks who are trying to access abortion. Muslims in the United States are not new to experiences of surveillance of our bodies, power and control over our bodies. It extends even far beyond 9/11, that the national security apparatus was targeting Muslims, and in particular Black Muslims in the United States, with regards to their movement. Being Muslim itself was criminalized. This is just another layer on top of that, of the state using power and control against our bodies. After the January 6th attacks, they came out with a framework around challenging or combating domestic violent extremism. And in there, they had a section that talked about abortion rights activists. It was vague in the strategic framework. People who are anti-abortion or pro-abortion could be labeled as domestic violent extremists if they're inciting violence. Yet, there was no use of that same label against anti-abortion activists who were actively harming abortion clinics, bombing them. But now we see DHS officers that are showing up at pro-abortion protests. And so it begs the question, when these frameworks are developed, when this infrastructure is developed, when these labels are developed, who are they really meant for? And how are they actually going to be used? If you have an iPhone, if you are utilizing any technology that is tracking your location, so there's sometimes that notification that pops up of like, can this app track your location? Those apps can then sell that data to the state. They're tracking, okay, this person came from this area, went to Planned Parenthood, they were there for that long, and then they went to a different location. And this is terrifying, but also not something that is new to Muslims or to folks who are used to the surveillance apparatus of the state. We know mosques are heavily surveilled, and areas where Muslims gather are heavily surveilled by the state with the use of surveillance cameras. But we also know that there have been breaches in our privacy with regards to the use of prayer apps. I think it's even more important that we build these connections, we see these connections, and we recognize them for what it is, right? This is state violence. As we're thinking about mobilization, it's really important to also center our communities and the lived experiences that they have with regards to how the state criminalizes them on multiple levels. And so don't just stop at voting, and don't just stop at thinking that legislation is going to save us. We also have to be equipping our communities to take care of each other. Mutual aid is a huge way we could do that. Making sure that folks who we anticipate will be criminalized have legal representation, supporting organizations like the Rebro Legal Defense Fund. Also making sure that our community members who are trying to access abortion services have supportive child care, have money for their healthcare costs, have emotional support. These are all very tangible ways that we can come together as communities to create those systems of support. When thinking about abortion access, we have to think about it holistically and think about the multiple barriers that different communities are going to face with regards to the ways that the state will criminalize us. Muslims have abortions. We will be in need of access to resources and support, both from mainstream organizations and from our local Muslim communities. And so as we are planning for this leak decision to become finalized, please include us in your conversations around who will be impacted, how we will be impacted, and the ways that we can receive support.